Hey guys, welcome back to East Carolina Rides. This is Bobby. Today, I won't have Taylor with me. He has started a new schedule for his class, and so we're going to try to revamp our recording schedule. And no, don't fret. We're hoping to have Taylor back. He's got a lot on his plate though, and I appreciate the weeks previous that he's been joining me on here. I feel like we both have a different perspective and a different take on certain subjects. And of course, his sales tactics are different than mine. Every salesperson's a little different. I just like having somebody that has been in the business just about as long as I have and has just seen the different side of things. So hopefully we can get that schedule going and don't overwhelm Taylor with too much stuff with a kid coming on the way, getting close to graduation, all the things that go along with married life. Things that I honestly don't really know about. So, Taylor, I'll hope to see you next week on the podcast. But today, wanted to go over some news. Wanted to share with you some thoughts about the business. There's a lot that's going on in the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram line, and I think we've seen from the sales side a lot of this stuff, but maybe consumers haven't. But maybe even sales hadn't seen this. If you're not subscribed to the Ram YouTube or any of their social media, you might have missed it. But this past week, New Year's surprise, the TRX is coming back. So it's great news for our side as far as just that notoriety. Really, it's not necessarily going to be a truck for everybody. It's going to be $100,000+ truck, but they're pushing more horsepower. They've got the Hellcat engine basically in the Ram 1500, which was replaced by the RHO for a little while, which is a cool truck in its own right. Pushes 540 horsepower with the high output twin turbo Hurricane, and is a much lesser price point, so you can still get that look and obtain something that's a little bit better on fuel, even though you're going to need premium. The RHO is also a very viable option as far as off-road goes as well. But the new one is going to be pushing 777 horsepower, which is just amazing. They keep pushing the boundaries, and the off-road capability, of course, is one thing. They've got the Bilstein adaptive shocks. You've got your supercharged Hellcat engine, and you've got all kinds of off-road options as well as on-road options. It's an all-time four-wheel drive, so it sticks when you take off. And they haven't pushed any of the numbers out as far as what the 0 to 60 is. I think it's like 3.5 seconds for a huge truck like that. It's just incredible. But the performance stuff like that is coming back, and we just got our first gas model ICE internal combustion engine version of the Dodge Charger. I took it for a drive the other day. It's first time driving it, and we had gone on a riding drive about a little under a year ago, and the riding drive was really cool. We got to drive the Wagoneer S and the Dodge Charger, the Daytona and the RT, which are the two variants of the electric version. The RT has been discontinued since. I think they kind of realized that if you're going to pay for an electric vehicle, you want to have the power to go with it. And that's what the Daytona is. It's like the Scat Pack version of that electric version. We drove them, and they will get up and go, and they are super quick. They're really fun driving vehicles. They are kind of like a boat because they're really heavy because of that big battery. That's kind of been a Charger thing for a while. But the new internal combustion engine, the new engine that we put in everything. So now it's been in the Grand Wagoneer, and it's been in the Ram 1500. They have now shifted that engine, the Hurricane, into the Dodge Charger. So it's actually pushing really strong numbers, 550 horsepower, sits lower so you can get up and go a little quicker. They changed the hood design. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at it. I think it looks better than the electric version. That front spoiler really didn't do it for me, but there again, everybody's taste is different. I think that that's going to be a nice segment for us, to have that in our wheelhouse again, where we've got a car, and we're going to eventually have a sedan too. The four-door version is going to be coming. So just keep your eyes open. If you're in the car business, you kind of know about this stuff, but if you're a consumer looking for a car, they will have a four-door option. You don't necessarily have to spend 60 grand on the high output version that puts out 550 horsepower. They are going to have the standard output model as well, which will certainly be powerful also. So that is going to be quite a bit less, starting to run around the $40,000 mark. So great to see we've got some cars coming in. The Dodge Charger is here. So if you're in the market for a car and you want to check it out, come find me. But they are starting to spread around. And then, of course, as far as other news pertaining to electric, so there was a big recall. About 320,000 Jeep 4xEs were recalled, and this is kind of a sore subject for our brand. I'm sure there was a lot of people that were impacted by this, and I'm sorry if you were, because I thought the 4xE was a pretty cool product, offering the best of both worlds, where you get hybrid technology, the electric capability, that instant torque that you can get driving in electric only mode, and then the plug-in style. So if you have short commutes, you can go to and from work and just ride on electric. But it's looking like that product will no longer be available. This recall might have been the nail in the coffin on that. They basically have discontinued ordering. I've been keeping my eyes open on it, and I've been watching it for the last like 4 or 5 months, and there just has been no word. And then eventually, it kind of came out in some of the news outlets. Now it's not official Stellantis news, so I hesitate to even really confirm this as solid truth, but it looks like the 4xE products are no longer in the market. They've done a stop sale on them a while back, but this I think was basically pulling the plug, so to speak, on the 4xE. But in more news, as far as the electric side of things, in a couple episodes back, I had mentioned the Recon. So they are not completely eliminating the electric idea. It just looks like the plug-in hybrid electric is starting to phase out. They are going to be coming out with the hybrid, a non-plug-in hybrid in the Cherokee. So we're hoping to get some of those soon. We're hoping in the next few weeks we should see our first Grand Wagoneer, the rebadging and the new fascia of the Wagoneer. It's no longer the Wagoneers. They're all just Grand Wagoneers. So they've gone into a different nameplate, but they're going to be sharing a lot of components of and similar features that you found in the Wagoneer prior. It's been a really popular vehicle for us, and I'm excited to see how it looks in person. Of course, pictures can only tell you but so much, and just the other improvements that I suspect they'll have made, but they are going to have nicer technology, like the screen in your console. The infotainment screen is going to be a little bigger, the 12.3-inch screen, so compared to the 10.1. So the improvements beyond that I haven't really seen, but they are changing the way that you order them and the way that the name badges work. Same thing with the Grand Cherokee. So not to go too deep into all the different things that are happening, because they could change things on us, just like they changed that the TRX is coming back. But anyways, the V6 is only going to be available in the lower trim levels for the Grand Cherokee. In the higher trim levels, they will be only offering the 2.0 Hurricane 4, which is their new turbo that's pushing over 300 horsepower and 300 pounds per foot of torque in the new Grand Cherokee. And so they've changed some of the naming as well. There's no longer going to be an Overland. They're going to have things like a Limited Reserve and the Summit and the Obsidian packages that they've had available in the past. So they're just kind of streamlining things where I think it makes sense, to get rid of some of those names that maybe weren't always very clear. People would come in and think that the Grand Wagoneer was the larger version of the Wagoneer, and it was the more luxurious version. So it's like created a conversation, which is fine. I think discussing it can help to engage somebody in the product, but confused customers typically do not buy. So as a way to make our job a little easier, I think Jeep has gone in the right direction there. And then moving on from all the vehicle news that's going on, we've got quite a bit of deals going on for the new year, things that really I think should always be a rebate, but they're bringing a lot of the products along with the ownership loyalty. So if you own a Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or Fiat product, you can save some extra money. You don't necessarily have to trade it, but if you are trading it, that's fine too. We are continuing our $1,000 trade assistance rebate, which is awesome. I think that's another great thing that we're doing at this dealership specifically. It's not through Stellantis, but through Stellantis, the ownership loyalty can save you up to $2,000, $2,500 on a Grand Cherokee. So great news for people that own our product and are looking to get back in it. I see it all the time where people trade their Grand Cherokee in for a newer Grand Cherokee, and now's the time to do it because the 25s are still a great product line when they're coming out with this refresh. It's not like they're completely changing things from the ground up or anything. There's a lot of similarities in this new body and new design, but one thing that also is really good, if you're in the market in Greenville or really the surrounding areas, we just took in a bunch of 25 Grand Cherokees, and those are some of the ones that are going to have the deals on them, and they're going to have the V6 in the higher trim levels. So if you're more of a fan of that V6 as opposed to being an early adopter of the new engine, it's a great time to come and look at what we have here. We're currently processing a lot of those and getting them into our inventory. But it's exciting for us because we've been kind of dwindling down on our inventory once the 26s were announced and started ordering those. We've just been waiting, and it could be another month or two before we see those 26 start to hit the lot. And then I wanted to share a few things outside of just news and car stuff. And it's partially about maintaining motivation in the car business for new guys. I think sometimes you can spend 2 or 3 months in the car business and not really see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I want to, from a veteran standpoint, and I do consider myself a veteran. I've been in it over 10 years now. Been at a couple of different dealerships, and I've seen different approaches from different salespeople, and I've seen people come and go. But I think that part of staying motivated is setting goals for yourself. And the new year is always a good way to remind yourself, hey, this is a time to set goals. You can set a yearly goal, you can set a monthly goal, weekly goal, daily goal. But I think if you can set yourself up for success in that way, you can continue to see the growth. And if you can see it, if you write it down, I'm a big fan of writing stuff down. I like to try to keep a log. I do take screenshots with my phone. There's certain ideas that I find that I really like and I want to steal them, or I want to put my own spin on something, or there's a word track that I really like. I'll write it down, or I like to take notes, and I think that's important. But also in that respect, when you're making your goal, don't just say it in your head and then say, yeah, I'm gonna do that. Write it down. If you write it down, it's on paper, you can go back to it, save it, or take a picture of it. If you're not into holding on to a lot of paper, I wouldn't even type it in your phone. I would physically write it down. I think that the act of that and putting it into reality helps to keep you on track and keep you in line and remain accountable, because you can go back and you say, man, I tried, I didn't get there, or hey, look, I got really close, or you got there and you can celebrate. And I think, when you do hit a goal, it shouldn't just be like, okay, I've hit that goal, let's move on, and let's see what goal I can set for me next. Give yourself a reward. Have something to treat yourself when you actually hit that goal, and release some of those serotonin, endorphins, things that will continue that drive. I think a lot of this business, and really any business, any kind of job, anything you do in your life, it needs to have some happy factor. You got to keep happy. You got to have some things that give you joy in this life, and this job can be joyful, can be fun. I think sometimes a lot of people look at the stress side of things, and they wonder, is it worth it? And you got to decide that for yourself. But that's my tip for new salespeople: is to make a goal, write it down, physically write it down, save it somewhere, and remember to come back to it. And don't just set a goal for the year. That's a long time to come back around to something. Set a monthly goal, set a 6-month goal. And those are things that I think will keep you consistent. That's my New Year's resolution: is to remain consistent and learn one new thing each day. And I think you'll start to see some success. But that's what I've got to share today. I think we're going to keep this one a little shorter. We've been going like 25, 30 minutes on these podcasts, but it's just me here today. I will continue to have guests. This is our first podcast for the year, so Happy New Year to y'all that made it through to the end of the podcast here. I know it's just me here by myself, but we're going to continue to try to make this fun, and I'm hoping that we can continue to share things with East Carolina Brides that help you to excel and to continue to build relationships, remain high in your level of integrity, and remember to stay disciplined, set those goals, and then like I say, all that stuff should combine to make you a little bit more excellent each day. But I thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a great day.